Russian. You never know.
It could, but that's just a theory.
It is a theory indeed. Anyway, so the next matchup is going to be on Neo Electric Circuit. So same two players, TechnicS versus LancerX. Of course, TechnicS now up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. So if he wins this game, he will move on to the round of 4, the semifinals. Whereas if LancerX wins, then we'll go on to a game 3 to decide who goes on. Very, very exciting. For those of you who don't know the format of the qualifiers, by the way, the top 2 players will both advance, but we're still going to play the finals because the winner of the whole qualifier actually gets to choose which group he's in the group stage in the round of 24. So it's actually a huge advantage, especially winning today's qualifier. Basically means you get to pick first and, well, basically pick the easiest group or what you think is the easiest group. So it really helps your chances getting to the round of 16.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Make no mistake.
But of course, before that, they have to get through the round of 8. Although I believe they both already have some points, though. We are basically just using the TSL qualifier system here. So both players, I think, by getting to the round of 8, already get some points going towards their qualifications.
Yeah.
So I think that is that. And we can just go straight into the game. Here we go. All right, here we are in game number 2 on Electric Circuit. I believe we have another observer. Oh, Mr. Wallace is handily hosting the map for our players.
It's good of him.
Indeed it is. So, in the top right, we are going to have TechnicS as the red Zerg, and in the bottom left as the yellow Protos, we're going to have LancerX. It's going to be cross spawns this time.
Okay, so of course cross spawns means we're much less likely, of course, to see any kind of rush strategy. Although, having said that, it can often be a while before you actually know you're in cross spawns. So more than anything, it basically means that rush strategy is going to be significantly less effective, just because simply it takes more time for you to get your units to the enemy base. So they've got further in the game than you were when you sent your units out. So it's often a pretty major factor. So for that reason, I wouldn't expect to see anything particularly early happening on maps such as this. And indeed, we do have pylon being laid down at the front of Protos base, which can suggest at this point either a 2-gate or a Forge Fast Expand, but because of the timing of the pylon, we have to assume at this stage there's going to be a Forge Fast Expand. And our Zerg player actually going for a 9 pull again, so could be playing something a little bit interesting, just like last game.
Wow, I'm really surprised by this from TechnicS. I mean, TechnicS is a very strong player, not particularly known for being very cheesy. So for him to go 9 pull and speed 2 games in a row is very interesting. I wonder if he's just playing some mind games with LancerX, or maybe, I don't know, maybe there was some trash talk going on before the game, and he just wants to just really just rub it in or something. But either way, unfortunately for Lancer, he's not going to scout correctly this time. And oh my God, is he going cross map? No, no, I think he is going in the correct direction. Man, the pathing on this map is freaking me out here. No,
okay, it looks like it's going right. Yeah.
Woo! Man, for a second I thought he was going to go cross map there. I was like, oh God, he's just never going to scout ever. But no, he is going to now see the 9 pull. Unfortunately for him, though, the Zerglings will already be on the way. Now, his Forge is going to finish, and as you said earlier on, since it is cross spawns, that he will have a bit more time to get the cannons up, but this is going to be extremely close.
Oh my God, it is, because I did delay the Forge timing so that he could get a scout in first before he made Forge. Before he made the first cannons, rather. I think he might have done.
I'm not 100% sure, but either way, the cannons are going up now. The Zerglings
they should be alright.
And yeah, I think it will be okay. But one more thing, actually, I was going to point out when you talked about going for the rush strategies earlier on, is that this map, there's actually no ramp. If you notice, it's completely flat, going out from the main to the natural and then out onto the map. LancerX, OMG, clearly not happy about getting 9 pulled. Oh no, never mind. He's very happy about getting 9 pulled. Apparently, he thinks his wall is perfect. I don't I don't really know if that's the case here. I think it'd be really funny if TechnicS actually ran through and there was like a gap on the right of the forge and he just like went straight in. I really hope TechnicS actually tries it now, just to see.
I think the cannon layout's quite good for defending a Roma, because as we can see, his cannon line goes quite deep, which is important. It looks like TechnicS not going to try his luck just yet, but he is continuing to produce links. He is going to have link speed up quite soon, so I'm pretty sure he's going to go for a Roma again. Of course, the deep cannons means that they can be shooting at the links for a lot longer as they make their way into the main, but if you haven't got any probes blocking, it becomes a little bit of a moot point because the links get past you so fast. And there we go, the speed does kick in, and it's only a matter of time now before he tries the run by. Will LancerX be able to get any probes out there? It looks like he's going pretty sparse on the probes. He's got one out there. He needs more than that. The run by is coming in now. He's going to get a whole load of links into LancerX's main. Oh my god. If you thought 3 was bad, wait till you see 4. This is a bit rough situation.
Oh man, I love it. LancerX is just like, dude, my wall is amazing. Like, don't even try to run by, man. You're just gonna fail, all right? Just don't even think about it. And then he just goes in and he gets 4 links in. This is so amazing. Oh no. Man, poor LancerX. And the thing is, like, I bet he didn't even know that this game would be casted either. Like right now, he's probably thinking like, God damn it, that's embarrassing. At least nobody's gonna see this game. And it's like, oh nope, sorry, dude. 2K viewers, baby.
Yeah, 2,000 people have caught this meltdown, which is looking pretty bad right now for LancerX. I've got to say, he's doing this because he has to do it. He has to chase those things around. Otherwise, they could literally kill his main Nexus at this point of the game, just because 4 links really does have the power to do that. So he's having to chase with practically all of his economy right now behind this endeavor. And the links are just going to hold their position at the top of that ramp and prepare for war. So LancerX is caught in between a rock and a hard place right now. Do I mine or do I, not die?
What the? He's just like, he's left 7 probes at the bottom of the ramp. Like, you shall not pass, and he gets them all. Oh man, looks like 7 probes is actually more effective than 3 cannons. Make a note of that, Protos players. Just use probes from now on. Forge fast expand, and then just put 7 probes there and don't build cannons. It'll be about the same.
Yeah. Yep. That's great advice. That is great advice. Everyone listen to Sale. He hit B-, guys. So.
That's true. I'm legit, man. I'm legit. You have to listen to me. I got a blue icon. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because at one point he had like all the probes except for 4 chasing the lings. So he was essentially like back to the beginning of the game where you only had 4 workers mining minerals. I'm just like, oh, dude, what are you thinking? I mean, to be fair, he did actually get all the links, which I was a little bit surprised about. I think TechnicS maybe made a slight blunder there trying to force his way through that little blockade. But in the meantime, I mean, TechnicS is completely fine. He's getting his 4th base up, essentially, because on this map, you actually get a free mineral only in the back of your main. It's actually all protected from this natural. There is a second entrance, but it's blocked off by 10 stacked neutral building things. I can never remember what they are. I think they might be power generators?
Side disruptors.
There we go, side disruptors. It begins with a P, man. It's all the same to me.
Is that what they actually are? Side disruptors. Did I get it right? Okay, we're going to see the Zealot go past. Oh, no, not quite. Yes, the side disruptors. Okay, I win that little game. We do have a scouting probe in the bottom right-hand corner getting taken out by a couple of speedlings, so he's going to see relatively little. And I do like this taking the 4th base earlier because there's no reason not to right there. You don't have to invest anything extra in defense, so it's just about, can I spare the extra 300 minerals? And after he's done so much early damage, the answer is invariably going to be yes. His economy is going to be very much stronger as a result of that decision. LancerX is now pumping Zealots once again, so we're going to see what it does with that. But again, his cybernetics core is looking quite delayed, although we still very notably have no lair tech from TechnicS.
Ooh. Wait, how many hatches does he have? Does he have 6 hatcheries? Oh my god, is
He's
he
got
going
a
6 hatch
Hydra.
Hydra? What the hell? Alright, so 4 hatch Hydra is a build. 5 hatch Hydra is also a build. Oh, if you happen to be a fan of Liquid Chef, as he is known now, he is formerly known as Chosen in Brugor. He actually was a big user of the 5 hatch Hydra build. So that build makes sense. That's a cool build. 6 hatch Hydra, I'm not sure I've seen before. That's very interesting. Wait, is that a 7th hatchery? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's actually just gone 7 hatcheries and no lair. He's actually decided he doesn't need to go to tier 2. He's actually just going to win on tier 1.
I think this is quite a good idea. I often wonder why Zerg don't do this a little bit more often, because when you go 5-hatch Hydra, it is possible for Protos to just go toe-to-toe with you, and with good micro, with good storms, effective use of your zealots, you can beat back a 5-hatch Hydra Zerg with 2 bases, just about. But you know, this is so many hatcheries, and he's got those extra minerals and mineral only as well. So I don't know if LancerX is going to be able to actually compete with him until he's got that, at least got that 3rd base up and running, and maybe even beyond that.
And it looks like a layer is finally just started. But I mean, like, if I'm LancerX, I mean, I wouldn't even know what to do if I knew that it was a 7-hatch Hydra. I mean, as you can say, you know, he kind of needs a 3rd base, and you know, once he gets his 3rd base, he might be in slightly better position. He can get the, you know, the extra zealots and gateways and whatnot. But it's like 7 hatches is going to make a ridiculous number of Hydras. It's going to make an obscene number of Hydras. And as a Protoss, it's just like, you know, you kind of expect, you know, a decent number of Hydras in the mid game. You know, 5-hatch Hydra, fairly common, or 5-hatch Hydra after layer, fairly common. But yeah, this kind of just mass hatchery spam is going to be pretty crazy for him to deal with. He might actually move out with, like, you know, a decent-ish force, expecting that he can, you know, poke the Zerg a little bit and pressure him a little bit, and just get completely swamped by Hydras.
Yeah, and he's about to see a fair handful of those Hydra out here with his scouting corps. So he's going to see 1 group of them, 2 groups of them. So already he's going to know that he's up against some pretty hefty opposition. He's starting to throw down more cannons. He's got a Reaver out already. If I were in his position, upon seeing that, I would actually be researching Scarab damage upgrade right now, just so he can get some more foothold against the oncoming forces. Because honestly, he's going to have a hard time, let alone pushing out beyond. He's going to have a hard time just holding his front door right here, which is exactly what he's going to be called on to do any second now. I think maybe TechnicS going in a little bit early, but TechnicS seems to think not, and he's just going to push. He's going to try and focus down that Reaver if he can. I have no idea how LancerX is going to be able to hold. It looks like LancerX is probably going to be okay for now as long as that Reaver survives, but this is going to be a little bit touch and go for him right now. The Reaver is pulling back, landing a few nice Scarabs, and it looks like the majority of the Hydras are going to go down, but it is still a little bit on edge, and TechnicS is going to keep producing Hydras and has already weakened up that wall significantly, so I'd imagine he's going to keep throwing units at this until he's properly deterred.
Wow, having that Reaver there along with a pretty decent Sim City. I mean, you know, we kind of laughed at the fact that the Zerglings could run by earlier, but it actually wasn't that bad of a wall here, as we could see. It really blocked the Hydras off from running in and sniping these Reavers, and I'm surprised he actually managed to kill all those Hydras, and, you know, his wall is still kind of there. The gateway's still there. I mean, you're right, a lot of the buildings did get busted down, but he does have time now to rebuild some cannons. He's got 2 Reavers there now, so it's going to be very difficult for TechnicS to actually break that with just Hydras. I think, you know what I think? I think TechnicS was thinking maybe to try like a pre-Psystorm Hydra timing there and just try and kill his opponent and just end the game immediately, but didn't consider his opponent was going for Reavers, and then the Reavers actually came out before the Psystorm would have been finished, and just in time to help defend against that Hydra bust. So now TechnicS is probably a little bit surprised, thinking, oh, okay, that game plan didn't work. You know, now what do I do? I mean, my tech timing is a little bit funky, so he's got to kind of wing it here now and figure out what he's going to do next.
This was a smart decision from LancerX. Do not do that, TechnicS. Do not keep going in against a bunch of cannons and 3 Reavers. And of course, one great thing about Reavers in terms of defense versus High Templar is get so much more mileage out of Reavers. I mean, you just keep making Scarabs. High Templar, you have to wait a long time for them to get one single storm. If that storm goes wrong, then you are in trouble. This is quite a smart decision right now from TechnicS. Going to start bashing down these side disruptors. He's a little way away from actually finishing that, but unless LancerX sees it, he's going to have a lot of hydralisks in the back of his base quite soon right here.
Now, this is
Sorry, go on. No.
Well, this is actually very interesting because it's going to take a really long time. Even though there's a lot of Hydras here, there are 10 temples stacked on, or whatever, side disruptors stacked on top of each other. So it's going to take a very long time. And the funny thing is, normally on this map, actually, you think like Zerg generally likes to have these kind of backdoors because they have lurkers to break them down. But in this case, because the tech was so delayed, he doesn't have the lurkers. And you know, he's just got to do it with the Hydras, which is not so good. Meanwhile, it looks like the last Scouting Corsair is going to go down here to these Hydralisks. But, well, these Hydras are actually taking these down. It's not going to be that much longer before they keep going down, as long as he keeps attacking them.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, the side disruptors aren't going to be lasting much longer, and LancerX needs to get over there and scout. It looks like he is now going to see it. He's got a group of zealots rushing out. I'm not sure if he specifically actually went to see that. Of course, once these lurkers are done, those side disruptors won't last 2 seconds because lurkers can just hit all of them at once, which is really quite brutal. But these zealots might be able to do a little bit of damage at 12 o'clock, but they are going to be seen off by a group of hydralisks. And very importantly, because the forge went down, we still don't have +1 weapons in for LancerX, which is a big deal when you're fighting against a large hydralisk force.
Ooh, that is a very good point. Meanwhile, it looks like a couple of Reavers in the shuttle are moving out now, but it doesn't... I mean, this pylon must see that these are going down, right? And is he not going to do anything? Oh, no. Okay, he's making all the defenses now to defend that. He's spilling them a little bit further back. Okay, meanwhile, this ragtag team of 5 commando zealots is running around trying to find some base to attack. If he goes to 12 o'clock, I'm pretty sure this group of Hydras can kill him. So I'm not really sure where he's going. And that was a really good point, by the way, about that +1. Generally, because, you know, because Protos almost always goes Forge Fast Expand in PvZ, so usually their upgrades are actually quite good, you know, keeping pace or ahead of the Zergs, but in this case, he's just not going to have many upgrades, and that actually is a huge deal once you go into the mid and late game, to not have those upgrades.
Yeah, it's weird that TechnicS hasn't made any upgrades either. So if LancerX had +1, or even theoretically could have +2 well on the way by now, then he'd actually have a super effective army against TechnicS. So I think he's maybe been a little bit lax about starting his +1 going again, because it looks very slow to me, even given that he lost his forge.
And looks like the backside disruptors have finally gone down to a few lurkers that were just morphed there. Random Scouting Overlord does kind of poke around, see what's going on in the base of the Protoss. Looks like Goon Range is actually barely going to finish in time to help deal with these lurkers. Of course, ranged goons, basically Protoss' best way of dealing with lurkers, besides Reavers, I suppose. So actually, you know, if he keeps making Reavers, he makes a bunch of Dragoons, he will be able to deal with these lurkers fairly easily. But on the other hand, TechnicS just has so much economy right now. I mean, he's been completely unharassed. He's just been able to make, you know, whatever he wants, tech as fast or as slow as he likes. You know, we saw him go, what was that, 7 hatch before Lair just now. I mean, kind of just do whatever he wants after getting in that good position in the early game.
Yeah, and yeah, my god, TechnicS is going to take the top left-hand corner. He's going to have so many bases, and look at all those units. It is natural. He's just kind of waiting for LancerX to actually try and push out, because I think he's just kind of spoiling to have a big battle and just crush him from all sides. I think that's what he's really wanting. We can see control groups of units dotted all over the map, but as soon as he feels like he's going to have a big engagement, then they're all going to come together in a big, calamitous kind of cloud of horrible Zerg stuff, just ready to kill all the Protoss forces. And I think he's expecting that to be soon.
If you look at the mini-map, it's exactly what you just said. Just a cloud of red, just all over the map. Look at this. He's got perfect vision. He's got overlords dotted around the Protoss main. He's got random Zerglings and stuff just patrolling around. And interestingly, look, this Protoss is just kind of, you know, he's not even like massing outside his natural. You know, normally you rally all your gateways outside your natural, but no, he's just being really scared right now. He's just kind of hiding behind his wall of cannons here, just timidly. But it looks like finally going to move out. Now, this looks like a relatively small force. Well, actually, there's a few more Dragoons coming in, but the main power in this force is the High Templars and the 4 Reavers in this shuttle. This force is actually way stronger than it might seem.
Yeah.
I mean, it only looks like, you know, 2.5 control groups, but this, I guarantee you, can kill, you know, like 10 control groups of Hydras if it's controlled properly. Easy peasy.
It looks a bit smaller than it is, mainly because the Reavers are kind of the zealot substitute in this situation. They're going to soak up a whole lot of units before they go down. That's kind of what the zealots would be doing, and they're going to be super effective at just cushioning the Dragoons and keeping them a little bit safe. And this has allowed, I mean, it looks like LancerX doesn't really want to engage, especially not in an unfavorable position, which is entirely understandable right now. But this has allowed him to at least start to 4th place, but it's all about whether he can hold this position. He is going to have forces coming at him from a few different sides, and his Reavers are looking slightly maybe where they shouldn't be. TechnicS is looking terrifyingly like he's ready for a battle, but LancerX is going to have to really play the positional game here and try to get favourable engagement off.
Yeah, I think TechnicS just has so much stuff, he's not sure what to do with it anymore. I mean, he's maxed out, you know, he's banking money, he's expanded all over the map. He's just like, you know, come at me, bro. Come out and attack, and then I can just kill you, and then you know, I can go on to the round of 4. Hey! But of course, now LancerX, on the other hand, I think he's actually playing this quite smartly. He knows he's behind. He knows that if he moves out, he can quite easily get surrounded and destroyed by the Zerg. And more importantly, the Zerg can replenish his army much faster. So instead of trading armies, he says, you know what, I'm going to play defensively. I'm going to take advantage of my superior tech units like the Reavers and the High Templar. and just kind of wait it out and trying to expand and max out myself, and then I'll engage you and get a much more favorable engagement when that does happen. So I kind of like that he's being a bit more defensive now, although having said that, it looks like he's at about 190 supply now. He's perhaps feeling like it's time to pressure the Zerg a little bit. This composition is extremely strong. You know, almost like a couple of overlords actually dropping at the 6 o'clock there, denying a potential expansion by the Protoss.
Yeah, this composition is awesome because it could take on pretty much any army. It would be good against super late game. It's good against this kind of big mid game / early game army that TechnicS is posting right now. So I think that this is an absolutely fantastic composition. The Reavers are getting a bit ahead of the army right here, and they're all clumping together a little bit. But beautiful storm going down, and this is where LancerX really needs to excel himself in micro terms. Some great storms happening, taking out a lot of units, but he's lost one of his 2 observers. He needs to make sure his other one survives. Still so much storm left in that army, and those Reavers are making themselves known as well. And look at TechnicS army melt in front of LancerX's, but the forces just keep coming. TechnicS is going to keep chucking stuff at him. Does LancerX have the power to do this? He needs to keep his Reavers alive. One of them is going to go down finally, but still 3 remaining is a pretty significant force, but another one going down as well. I think he's forgotten to build Scarabs, which is enough to make his Reavers seriously lose this, and he is going to just about lose this engagement. I think he does still have some storm left, but it's probably going to be fruitless, and the engagement is eventually going to go to TechnicS.
Yeah, it looks like TechnicS is just going to try and win this with sheer weight of numbers. Just pure tier 1 unit spam, Hydras and Zerglings, and that's it. A couple of Lurkers here not even bothering to burrow, and just with a pure massive overwhelming units, he's just smashed through the force. I mean, there's a few units left here, but barely a handful. I really thought that would go a lot more favorable for the Protoss, and at the beginning it did, but eventually the Protoss, he ran out of storms, he ran out of Scarabs, as you said, and then that was it.
Those Scarabs are so important. I'm surprised he hasn't. I don't think he's researched the Scarab count upgrade, so he's having to build them very, very regularly, which is very annoying when you actually need to go home and do something else, like macro, for example. But he has actually managed to sort of win the battle. So he has a decent position on the 12 o'clock, he has a decent position on the top right, which is going to be going down any second now. And so LancerX isn't actually dead, and in fact, he might be on the comeback trail. He's got his 4th base up and running, and TechnicS is in a spot of bother right here, I have to say it.
Yeah, this is actually very interesting. I mean, he's still slightly ahead in the supply, 164 against 140 run right now, but the 12 o'clock base is under attack. There's a random probe here in the army, just being a badass.
Oh yeah, you got to have the probe, just in case you need to make an emergency base anywhere. Nice Side Storm being laid down on top of a bunch of Hydras. The Reaver is being left to its own devices, but nice little bit of micro there by LancerX to pick it up and save that final Reaver. The 12 o'clock does go down, and so TechnicS' economy is starting to look a little bit questionable, which I didn't see myself saying at any point in this game, but oh my god, he's just made so many Ultralisks. That is like 6 Ultralisks right there. He's still got a bunch of Hydralisks coming in as well. He's just going to keep throwing units at this. He is not going to take no for an answer, but LancerX's economy is, I was about to say looking good. It's looking better, but it's still not looking great. He is continuing to pump units at a fairly alarming rate though, and so he's kind of staying even with the Zerg, even at this stage.
Man, I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me as a Protoss. It's just like you think you just won an epic battle. You're like, yes, I'm gonna kill this base. I'm like, I can actually win this. I'm gonna come back in this game, and like 15 Ultras come, and you're just like, fuck my life. It's just like, come on, Zerg, come on, dude.
He needs more Reavers. I'm surprised he hasn't been producing Reavers this time, because a few Reavers would really make the difference right now. And it's a bit of a shame he lost those other ones so cheaply, because he could easily have kept at least 2 of those alive just by keeping his eye on them a bit better. I mean, I know it's a heavy multitask, but nonetheless, I think he probably could have stretched to it if he'd really been focused on it.
Indeed, and interestingly enough, Reavers are basically a perfect counter to Ultra Link, so that would have been super duper helpful. Meanwhile, he's actually trying to sneak a base in here in the top left. That's going to be spotted straight away by this Crackling. No chance of that going down here. I don't think he can even really afford it anyway. And if you notice his army composition now, it's purely Zealots and Dragoons. He no longer has those really nice techie units like the Reavers and Templars. He's got a couple of High Templars there, a single Reaver with no shuttle to transport it, and those are really the units you need. The Zealots and Dragoons are actually surprisingly ineffective against what the Zerg is going to be throwing at you in the late game. Even in like the mid game against mass Hydras, pure Zealot Dragoon is generally not very cost efficient.
No.
So you really need those supporting units to back them up, and in this case he just doesn't really have the gas for it. The gas is really the crucial factor here, because note that even though he got this extra safe base at the back, it is a mineral only, so he was only on 3 gas for this whole game basically.
Yeah,
so,
I think... Sorry, go on.
I was just going to point out the probe going to the top left to re-expand.
Yeah. Okay. I think what the point you made about the gap is really important because there are a couple of things I reckon LancerX would like to be doing at this stage. He would like to be making more of those kind of Archons, more of those Reavers, but I think this is also perfect timing for the Protoss to start pumping Corsairs again because as we can see, the Zerg has transformed into pretty much an entirely melee army on the ground, which would make Corsairs super effective. We have another big engagement going down here, and I think LancerX is about to get crushed. There are units coming in from all sides. There are so many Ultras, there are a huge number of Zerglings, and really, LancerX does not have the stomach for this battle one bit. He does lose to 12 o'clock again, but that is small fry compared to what LancerX is about to lose, and that is his entire standing army all in one fell swoop, and that is all going to be going down, trapped in a pretty nasty corner. There are Defilers, there are Ultras, there is a full range of horrible stuff. It's pretty much entirely designed to kill Protoss players, which is horrible. This is so weird at the top left-hand corner. That is not happening. One Crackling is going to be able to see to that, but TechnicS going for the overkill, just making sure that base does not happen. And LancerX is really starting to run out of ideas, options, and hope in this game. Interesting little bit of a drop at the bottom right-hand corner. That Reaver is going to make itself pretty frustrating for a while, but not going to be enough to turn the tide, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at the supplies, you know, LancerX barely reached the 100 supply now, whereas TechnicS is still basically almost at 200. He's trying to do some fancy harassment here, but as you say, it's really not going to be enough here. We might actually lose this Reaver because he's not paying attention.
Yep.
I think if it actually shot the Scarab there instead of run to the shuttle, it might have lived, but oh wells.
You might have forgotten to make Scarabs, of course.
Indeed, indeed. So we've got a paltry force of Protoss here. The Ultras are actually going to pretend to be scared and run away just to make the Protoss feel a little bit better. You know, he's like, you know, he feels bad to beat the Protoss so badly. So he's like, you know what, I'll give you this one. I'll run away for now. You can hold that base for a couple more minutes, and then I'll just humiliate you.
Well, I think that would obviously be because TechnicS loves StarCraft. And if you love StarCraft, you want each game to last literally as long as possible. So I wouldn't be surprised if TechnicS drags out for, say, another hour or so. You know, just because he loves Brood War.
In the meantime, we can watch the drone dance party here outside of TechnicS's back door.
Oh, yes.
Where are these even going? Where did he transfer these to? Because if he transferred out of his main, they would be on the other side here. So he must have transferred these back into his main. But why would you even do that? I don't even understand.
They are beyond confused right now. They're brain-dead drones. They're just kind of wandering around aimlessly. We have another big engagement going down, but this has got to be the last hurrah for LancerX. He throws down a storm. It's a good storm, but it's not really going to kill anything. Oh, one just does actually explode, but look at how few units he has versus the Zerg onslaught right now. So many units still coming in, and before he can even pick the Reaver up, it goes down. The last of the Dragoons, the last Archon is going to die too. TechnicS looking pretty unstoppable in these games. GG from LancerX.
GG! TechnicS takes it down 2-0. Congrats to him. Wow.
TechnicS looking strong.
Crazy, crazy series there. Oh, but TechnicS is just way too good. I mean, you know, to be fair, I saw some people in the chat saying, oh, you know, this Protoss is not very good and everything, but LancerX has reached A- on Icy Cup. I mean, he is seriously good. Yeah. The thing is, TechnicS is like one of the favorites to win the tournament, basically. I mean, he's like, he can basically take games off Zeki in ZVZ. I mean, he's on that level. So TechnicS is crazy good.
Yeah, and that's a level few of us can aspire to. I mean, that's seriously good. And LancerX, you're right, he is good, and he performs well in Russian lands, I think, as well when they have their events. So it's no mean feat to take him down like that. But TechnicS just looking unstoppable, and you can really see why he's actually one of the favourites to go a long, long way in this tournament. So congratulations to him for moving on there.
Indeed, indeed, he is going to be one of our semi-finalists, netting himself even more points towards qualifying into the TLS proper. And I believe we finally have some semi-final games. Oh, fantastic. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And in fact, the first semi-final series is going to be none other than TechnicS himself playing against another LRM player, Bakary.